Thank you, sir.
May I request Mr. Ian Pinto to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Esteemed guests, professors and dear students. So about nearly 28 years ago, I started my HR career in the village of Induri, which is near Talegaon. So, being here in Pune to address all of you, I feel very, very privileged and honored. And thank you for inviting me here. Sometime later this afternoon, I believe you will be having some panel discussions around the changing role of HR, challenges and opportunities. So this seems to be the theme. And so I thought I will speak a little bit about this theme as well, at least give you my experiences and some insights, right? And so, as I said, 28 years ago, the HR profession was actually called personnel management. And I completed my postgraduate and my degree actually reads master's degree in personnel management and industrial relations. So, lots of time has passed since then, and we are now calling this what we do in the world of people, HR or human resources or human resource management. But just having a change of name is not enough, right? Because what I'm seeing today happen in the more modern times now, the name of HR itself is changing. People are no longer calling it HR. There are some of the leading companies calling it human capital management, or they are calling it people operations, employee experience, employee success. So these are the new terms and terminologies of what we are doing in the world of people. So for me, no matter what we call ourselves, the deeper issue as a human resources manager or as a manager of people is, what do we stand for? Yeah? How do we demonstrate value to our internal and external customers through our behaviors and actions? And I feel really, really happy to see the way we have begun this event here, with a reverence towards God, with a reverence towards our seniors. I mean, this is how we embrace people. So I think, and I want to commend and congratulate your institute for instilling these kinds of values, because these are the values that you will actually be bringing into the world of industry. And this is what we need when we are working with people, right? So the fundamental values. So thank you for sharing that experience with me. I really appreciate that. So the questions at hand for human resource managers are we providing a great experience for the candidates who come in to aspire to join us? Are we giving a great experience to our employees? Are we connecting the capabilities of our employees with the goals and strategies of the organization? So all of this is HR. I mean, there's lots to what HR is all about. But again, fundamentally, the questions that I grapple with on a day-to-day basis are, do we support and empower our employees? Do we care are we being human? So these to me are the fundamental questions that I have, that I keep in front of me every day when I'm practicing my day-to-day job. And this is what I do when I'm working with my team. The basics are, we must care. And oftentimes, when you're working in companies, or there is the caring side of the company, but most often people experience the not so caring side. So again, I want to bring forward to you that as you embark on your journey, because some of you are going to soon graduate from here and move on to industry. Some of you are learning. So learn the basics of caring. And a lot of why, again, I want to recognize the institution, because it's very important to recognize the institution where we come from. Yeah. So I want to give you an example of this, because while I'm asking questions, how do I actually live this? So I actually had an experience yesterday with one of my employees. Sometime last week on Ganesh Chaturthi, he sent a message to his manager saying, I have a critical situation at home. My wife is carrying a child, and it can be quite serious. It could be the life of either the mother or the baby, right? It's that kind of a serious, and I would like to have some time off. And he said, maybe I will return to work on the, he sent a text message, I'll return to work on the 30th, which was yesterday. And so when I was walking around, I saw this, I was surprised to see the employee there. So I went to, inquire, right, and talk to the employee and understand how was the situation, what happened. And here I see this employee who has got so much of love for work and for the company. He has come to work, and his wife is still very, very serious back home in his village near Satara. So it's quite amazing that he has done this. And so from my perspective, I said, but why are you here? He said, no sir, I've got some work to do. I said, not to worry. Work is something that we as an organization will work around. We will find the solutions. You need to be with your family, right? And then he began to share that actually his wife is so very serious, but he is concerned about his job. That maybe if I take too much of leave, right? So this is how people begin to associate the organization. And so how does the organization actually show that caring face, that caring side of the organization? Because organizations can be quite, sometimes you don't see the care of an organization, right? And the care of an organization happens through human resources, happens through the people who are, leading human resources. And that's what I want to bring forward to you, that it is really, really important. So immediately I brought his manager with him. I told him, listen, your job is safe and secure. I want you to go home now immediately, right? Because his wife was actually, they were going to operate her, and actually he was going to lose the baby. And I said, it's not acceptable for me to see you here. And I value and respect what you're trying to do to fulfill your job. So I just want to give you this example just to show you that this is all real life situations. So when you're in human resources, and some of you may be graduating in maybe other streams, maybe finance and HR, finance or marketing or some other streams, right? You are still a manager of people, because I think you're all aspiring to be managers, right? That's why you're going through this program, to be a manager one day, which means you will lead people. So human resources gets practiced by managers. It gets practiced by not only the HR function. The HR function should lead and show the example, but more than that, managers need to demonstrate the face of the organization. Yeah? So there's just a little bit of example to really say that those are the basics of HR, and really speaking, personnel management, the way it was defined, right? I mean, how did this changes take place? I mean, the changes were personnel management was responsible for managing risk, managing compliances, was more transaction based, record keeping. Listening to employee grievances, settling employee grievances. So that was how personal management was, and that has then developed over the years into HR. And HR basically has become more into trying to be more strategic, trying to be business partner, right? And I think maybe one of our next speakers I heard is. Got a lot of experience in the area of business partnering, so maybe he will share some of that. So the business partnering is become a very key piece in today's world, and then also service excellence and centers of expertise. So this is where HR has moved and where HR is today, situated, right? It has developed into this. But what I wanted to really talk about is, because we're talking about change, actually HR is now at another crossroads. It is absolutely at another crossroad where technology is changing the way of HR and changing the way of working. So technology is helping us make things happen faster, maybe make things happen cheaper. So the transactional world of HR is now becoming a world of interaction, right? And you'll be surprised to hear me say this, but the interaction is not so much between human and human. The interaction is between human and machine, right? And you can all reflect on this. When you're sitting down, all of us today, I think, or maybe majority of you, if I asked you to take out your cell phone, you will all be able to take this machine out, right? This is a machine, right? And it is absolutely near and dear to us and very close to our heart. It's so close we keep it here, right? Yeah. And we become helpless when we don't have this tool or this machine by our side. So the interaction today, the world of HR is changing, where the interactions are happening with the machine more than we people. Another example I can talk about, and again, because of maybe there's some generational differences here. When my wife and I will go to a restaurant and sit down and have some coffee or something. So we are sitting down and talking, and we are having the old world, human to human kind of interaction, and then we see some young couples sitting around, friends, young couples also, but just young people sitting around, and they're having interactions with their mobile phone more than they're having. Do you recognize this? Do you see this happening? So this is the change that we are talking about. This is the change we need to recognize. This change is happening every day. If we are not looking out for the change, we will not see it. And if you don't see it and don't prepare for it, then it will come back and bite us somewhere. So we need to recognize that this is the change that's happening. And so the world of business and the world of HR has also recognized this change. Because what is happening now is that we are now working with, the world of work is changing. We are having the millennials and what's called the millennials and the Gen Ys, and many of you are sitting here, right? So you are the people who are going to be the future. And for you, the future is going to be using technology. So the world of HR, it also has to change to be able to meet your needs. The needs of your parents were very different than they were in the workplace. My needs, again, I'm at the latter end of my career, so I mean, my needs are very different from the needs of majority of the people in the workforce today. But we need to understand it, we need to recognize it, we need to prepare for it. So what is really happening then with this technology? And technology is changing very fast. You've all heard that we are living in this VUCA world, VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, right? So we can't get hold of this world very easily, right? And since we are living in this kind of world, HR must adapt and adapt very fast, or we will face extinction. So it's no longer a time for HR to look at evolution. You know, the time from personnel management to HR to, you know, that was evolution of HR. Now HR is at the doorstep of revolution, right? So revolution is what is happening, and you can also begin to, if you reflect and look at what is happening in the social world outside, it is revolution that is taking place everywhere. Different kinds of revolutions, right? So we are living in a world where there is revolution, and revolution is not a bad thing, it's just a way of moving forward, right? So we need to recognize that when we are living in revolution, we need to also be in a revolution mindset. We need to be in a revolution way of doing things. And so for me, this is a very exciting time for HR, and I think for all of you young people. So what are some of the changes or these revolutions that are taking place? So in the past, HR was done a lot by the personnel department, the HR department, but now it is moving very much to managers and to employees. So the managers are doing more HR, and how are they doing it? They're doing it through mobile apps, okay, and through a digital experience. So that is where the world is moving to. So you need to also prepare yourself to move towards that world. When I started my, I used to have performance, you would have learned about performance management and performance appraisal. You know, when I started my career, we had paper-based performance management appraisal, right? And then as we progressed, now in our company today, we are using PeopleSoft, and, which is a system-based, so we have it within the system. But we have already seen, and some companies have already moved there, our company has not. But certainly we are thinking about it because we are moving to the next platform. We are moving to a cloud-based platform. And what we are expecting is that performance management will happen on the phone, right? Why? Because the younger generation cannot wait for feedback. They want feedback, instant feedback. So the manager will give them instant feedback on the phone, right? And so also the employee will give the manager feedback on the phone, right? You will not wait for annual appraisal. So the word annual appraisal is gone. Mid-year appraisals is gone. Now it is instant, right? Because that's the world we are living in. So are you able to see how because of changes that are happening in the world, we are also needing to change within industry and our ways of working within HR. HR transactions, again I talked about this, the world in between where we moved into HR, where we had business partners and service centers. So more and more transactions will move to service centers. And the service centers were previously, I used to run a HR service center, and the service center was manned by team of employees, right? I mean, they were on the phone and on the system, and they were responding to queries. We are now beginning to look at what is called chatbots. Robots are being trained through artificial intelligence to begin to respond to employees' queries. And a lot of this is already in the there in the space, particularly in the customer space. You think when you've seen probably on in some of the websites where you go, they say 24-hour, 24/7 customer service, right? And you think you're communicating with somebody. They have a picture of a nice lady or a man there, right? But actually behind that is a chatbot. Only thing is you don't know that it's a chatbot, right? And it gives you the experience. So it gives you your experience 24/7 that you are looking for, and it's giving you the responding to your queries. When it cannot respond immediately to your query, it will say, I will give you a response in 24 hours, right? And somebody behind the scene, then a human intelligence will come in. But otherwise, artificial intelligence is what is now, is the future, is what is going to rule our world, right? So HR is also needing to go there. So I could not believe that I, as a, somebody who's been quite mature within the industry, but I am beginning to ask questions to my IT people. I need chatbots now. Because I know if I don't move in that direction, I will, when I say I am saying my company, we will be outdated. We will be behind the scenes. So I cannot afford that as a leader, as an HR leader. I need to be moving with the times. I need to understand the technologies and move forward with those technologies. So that is some of the new futures that are there. So it's very interesting, very exciting. It can be very scary as well. But for me, it is. I feel this is a great, exciting world. I think the other thing that I want to also highlight, because many of you will be looking for your futures now. What's going to happen to jobs in the future? I think that's very important that I try to give you some insight on that. Because when my father joined, when my father retired, he retired after 25 years working in one company. I will retire maybe in a few years from now, but I have worked for 5 different companies, 5-6 years. The generations that are coming are not looking for lifetime employment. They're not looking for 5-year employment. They're not looking for employment. And that is something I would like to seed in your minds as well. That the employee of tomorrow will not be a permanent employee. The employee of tomorrow will be a part-time employee. So you need to begin to think about your future in that way, because organizations are not going to be looking to say, I'm going to give you a full-time job, because there is no full-time job. There is a job that you need to do for a period of time, come in, do it, go on. And that's, so it's a different language. It's a different language, and so that requires a different kind of HR. So the HR is not going to be working with an employee for a long time, development, and no. The development happens on the job. You come in, you learn, we give you the full experience, and you move on to your next experience and continue your growth and your journey. Yeah. So there is going to be much more part-time employment than full-time employment. So I think I've tried to give you some examples, and maybe I will try to now give you a sense of, and as I try to close my talk, so how do you face this new world? How do you face this new world? And I think some of the things are keep learning. You have to be learning new things. Learn new ways of doing things and unlearn the old ways. Okay, I give you an example. I recently learned, that emails is now, people don't have the time for emails. Do you have the time for emails? But you have the time for texts. So, that is new, and so for me as an HR professional, I'm used to the email way, and no. So I am communicating more and more with my own team now through text messages. Right? And they're communicating with me through text. So learn the new ways of doing things. When I first, again, I'm just trying to help you understand what technology does and how technology, right? When I first joined an American company 25 years ago, right? They were used to voicemail. I don't think we in India use so much to voicemail, but basically my boss would, American boss would just, they'd pick up the phone. If you don't answer the phone, they leave you a voice message. And that was the technology of the time, right? And I just couldn't deal with it because I didn't know how to deal with that technology. And I soon realized because I was not, from his perspective, I was not performing. Because he could see that, you're not doing, so you have to be able to, till I understood, yeah, I got to get this technology and get it, I will not be able to perform to the standard or the expectation of my boss, my customers, right? So please think about this and look into this. The other thing that's very important today, and there's a phrase that is being used, is fail and fail fast. If you've not heard this phrase, then learn this phrase. Fail and fail fast. Okay, so because of the speed that we are living in our working world, so go for speed. Of course we don't want to fail, but if you have to fail, it's better to fail and fail fast, or fail early rather than fail late. So that's because we're living also in the world of innovation. So there's a lot of innovation taking place. Yeah? Is it making some sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I think maybe the last couple of things is, one is we're living in a network world. So grow your networks. Make sure you're building networks. Networking and collaboration is key for you to succeed in your career forward. And that's what we in HR are doing as well in our company. We're trying to help our people network more. Network within, network outside. More and more things are happening through networks, right? So if you're doing a job search today, use LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is the network, right? If you use the traditional approach of going to apply for a job, you have less chances for getting a job. Okay? And I think maybe the final piece is prepare for disruption. We are living in a disruptive time. Just every day is disruptive. The rains in Mumbai disrupted Mumbai, right? One of our lead speakers could not attend because of the disruption. But then you are able to respond quickly. You are able to make a change and adapt, right? So if you're not able to work with disruption, you will not be able to succeed. So as an individual, understand that disruption is going to be part of your day-to-day life. So be excited about it. Because I'm excited and I feel good about it. I see a lot of possibilities for myself, for my HR community. I see possibilities for all of you. So look forward with excitement and prepare for this. Okay. So with this, I close my talk and I look forward to sharing some more through the panel discussion later. Thank you.